brisk wind curls around me as I step out onto a patch of dirt that can barely be called a parking spot, and a place that can barely be called a campground. Misty curtains have settled over the nearby hills, and mountains and small specks of leftover morning dew occasionally drip on me from above. Bending down, I drop my backpack and pull on the tongue of my sorta new hiking boots. A little big, but they'll work. Considering these came from the stash of supplies we borrowed from Maria in New Mexico, her feet must be freaking huge. That's not the only thing that's huge on her. All set? Marina is standing behind me, frowning at her own Velcro strap boots. Just about. These boots are pretty big though. You think so? They feel a bit snug on me. Sheesh. Never mind about Maria. You know what they say about girls with big feet? Nothing actually. Nothing at all. Hey, forget about the treasure. Let's just dress up as Bigfoot. Or dress you up as Bigfoot and turn you in for a cash award. That might actually work. The joke is awful, and I know it, and yet I still played along with it. Still, Marina plays along. I guess we have the same bad, awful humor. Marina plays along, sticking her tongue out in a half-playful manner before she forces a tired smile. The whole time, she doesn't make eye contact. So much for lightening the mood. You gotta come up with a better joke to lighten the mood. Last night's sudden tension is still present, even though we try to ignore it or pretend that it isn't there. We both know it. We both can't look at each other directly, and our conversation feels awkward and stilted. This definitely needs to just be talked about. Just talk it out, and then things will hopefully go back to normal. But it's just one of those things, you know? It's one of those things that probably neither person wants to talk about, but it's on their mind constantly. But you don't want to be the first person to start the conversation and blah blah blah. But to actually just make the entire awkwardness go away, someone has to take that first step. And I feel like if it's gonna be someone, it'll probably be Amber. But we pretend everything's normal as we try to put on our best performances and reenact our usual routine. So, how long is the hike? The brochure said about 90 minutes each way. Might take even longer in this weather. Oh, I can feel the gulf between us. It's like yet another canyon, except I don't know how to cross this one. The picture in the brochure was super pretty. Angel's Landing, right? Now it's her turn to try and lighten the mood. I hate how we're both too afraid to just address the issue. But I'm just as guilty as she is here. I sigh and play along as best as I can. Yeah, it's nice. It's supposed to be the most scenic view in Zion. Zion? That's what Gramps told me anyway. This hike was one of his favorites, said the view is so lush that there's so many trees and plants that he discovered several new shades of green up there. It was one of the spots that he was most looking forward to visiting with me. I glance back up at the mountains. The mist doesn't look like it'll clear anytime soon. In fact, it seems to be swallowing up more of the landscape. It got Marina's attention too. She stares up as if she's picking out specific details in the fog. While she's distracted, I let my gaze rose over her again, guiltily, like I'm sneaking glances. But I don't care. Admiring the sweep of her shoulders down into her collarbone. Oh yeah, for some reason girls have a real thing for collarbones. I don't know. I wouldn't particularly call it a fetish, but I do remember, I don't know what it was exactly, but in like the olden days, you know, because now with the internet and everything, we have fucking access to everything. Want to see your favorite celebrity naked? You'll probably fucking find it in the internet. Most likely it'll be fake, but there's actually a pretty big percentage chance that it's not. But you know, all of that is at your disposal pretty much, you know, you just have to type it in Google and bam, there it is. But without the internet before, and those things weren't as easy to come by. So a lot of these things were just up to the imagination, and some of the things, especially like really, really old ago, was when girls were wearing like ankle high skirts and that sort of shit, that guys back then probably just had to make do with what they were given. And that was probably just a big piece of the collarbone, like, ooh, this girl, she's showing off collarbone. Or like they're seeing a piece of the ankle and like, ooh, but for some reason I feel like I've encountered this in other, or at least I think if I remember correctly, some other Yuri visual novels, but girls have a particular thing for collarbones, it seems. But I don't really find it anything too interesting. I'm never gonna be like, oh, look at that sexy collarbone over there. Oh yeah, I just want to eat it up. And the rest of the curves of her body, I let myself examine her like I did when we first met, and like I've been consciously abstaining from. Looking her over, like it doesn't matter if she catches me anymore. She doesn't though. I may as well be invisible to her right now, while she studies the mountaintops. And I want her to pay attention to me. She's wearing her usual boutique brand clothes. Her cute frilliness is just as perfect as ever for Marina, but they clash with the clunkiness of the ugly brown boots. Yeah, that's Maria's style. You sure you want to wear that? They might just get in the way. She gasps, almost offended by the suggestion that she wear anything else. But my skirt is so comfy. Aren't you supposed to wear comfy clothes on hikes? Besides, with a name like Angel's Landing, it has to be pretty relaxing. She gives me a big, honest smile, tipping her head to the hills. It's the first real smile I've seen from her all day. So, what are we waiting for? Let's go! I melt, letting her skewed reasoning fall to the wayside just this once. Warm fuzzies and a goofy grin takes over my dour mood, just for a moment. Alright, but no whining if they end up being a problem. Slinging the backpack over my shoulder, we head for the shuttle that leads to the trail. Logs and a stone fire pit adorn the sides of each lot that we pass. Maybe when we get back, we'll go to the camp store and pick up some supplies to roast marshmallows. Oh yeah, roasting marshmallows over an open fire, that's the best thing ever. I feel like I actually say that a lot, that's the best thing ever, but there can literally only be one thing that's the best thing ever, right? So that's a sentence I probably overuse way too much, but it doesn't matter because it's the best thing ever. I think she'd like that. Marina's heavy breathing guides me as we slog our way uphill, the previous light mist now having morphed into a thick and dreary fog. I cling to the chained railing as I stumble my way up the trail of rocks. It's the only protection from the sheer drop-off beside us. All it would take is one slip for me to take a nosedive into the valley below, and I wouldn't even see it coming. Turns out, the fluffy and enticing name, Angel's Landing, doesn't come with the relaxing stroll Marina was hoping for. This feels more like a ghastly death march. My sweat-drenched legs feel like pudding under the anchor that is a measly 5-pound backpack. No one else on the shuttle even bothered to attempt the hike alongside us. I attempt to form words between pained breaths, feeling like a rock is being smashed into my lungs with each step. We should turn back. Yeah, this fog is way too thick. Can't see Jack. God damn it, is fucking Jack hiding again? Come out, Jack. It's not safe up here. What? She sounds like she's doing about as well as me, echoing the same lung-puncturing gasps. But we're so close. There's no way we're not almost there. How can you see that, Marina? We stop, collapsing against our knees as we try to catch our breath. Not gonna mean a whole lot if we end up falling off a cliff. I thought you were the one who wanted to do this so bad. Every couple words are punctuated by her gasping for breath. Yeah, but... Amber, please, let's keep going. Her voice is a whimper, fragile and meek. I fold. Okay. Marina has a way of making me shut up when she wants to. Yeah, all she has to do is just ask or say, and Amber will just not even bother to say the opposite, you know? She's not gonna fight it. She's like, alright. If Marina says so, then I'll have to go along with it. Whether she knows it or not. Today, it doesn't make a difference, and that's the power of love, people. That's what love can do to a person. No matter how strong-headed you are, if the person that you love says like, no, we gotta do this, then you're like, well, fuck. My head isn't speaking in this situation, it's my heart actually, so I'm like, alright, I'll just come along with you. I'm not going to be the one who makes things worse. She's wrong about one thing though. I wasn't the one who wanted to hike up here. Gramps was. It gets easier after our break. The trail begins to plateau, and the steepness evens out, fading behind us until the return trip. Ooh, I think we're already here. See? What did I tell you? Marina darts ahead, disappearing into the fog so she can look at the mythical view that the brochure and I have preached for, and Gramps to me. But if my suspicions are right, this weather and the view aren't going to be very compatible. Following behind, I step out of the cloudy murk and into an area that offers only slightly more visibility. What's the view? Ooh, that's not bad. Marina stands still in the center of the cliff, her hand clutched to her heart. I mean, it's actually kind of cool to see where the fog ends from above. It's like if a volcano erupts, but then you replace the lava with like this fluffy fog. It always actually looks like fluffy clouds or something like that. It's awesome. What should have been a bird's eye view of Zion is nothing but a sea of fog. The lush greenery and full valleys are invisible. Only over a few overgrown bushes and some rocky points peek out above the clouds. That's the thing though, I don't know what to see or what I was supposed to expect underneath this cloud of fog. So I don't know if this is better than, what we're supposed to see or not. From the description and the fact that Amber actually seems very disappointed by it, I'm guessing this is definitely not the better view. I was expecting it, but the sight itself really is numbing. The hollowness in my stomach, the one I've gotten so used to feeling, rears its head once again, only intensified by Marina's silence, any expression shrouded by her bangs as she tilts her head down. Sorry. Gently, she shakes her head. Don't worry about it. It's not your fault. You tried to warn me. Marina. But I don't know what to say. I'm disappointed too. There were a lot of places Gramps always talked about visiting. After we settle down and kick back for a few years. After I finish repairing the RV. After I get better. Oh god, the last one. Oh no, because he never got better, poor Gramps. This place came up more than the others though, but that shows that he had confidence in becoming better, Unless it's one of those, empty promises that you make to a child because, you don't want to seem negative in front of a child. So you're just gonna say like, yeah, don't worry, I'm gonna get better, even though there's only 1% chance of me overcoming this illness. Don't worry, I'll get better, Sometimes you gotta protect kids when they're still young. You don't want to expose them to certain things too early, because I still remember when I first found out about death. I actually don't know how I found out about it because I actually have relatively little people that I've lost throughout my life. And I actually don't get too emotionally connected to the people in my life here to the point where I'm just not a person that cries, okay? I get sad, obviously, of course, but I don't really shed tears very often, so my girlfriend ends up calling me a robot. Even though the last time I cried was actually at a freaking dog movie. It wasn't really crying, but it was just tears in my eyes. But that movie, Hachiko, if you want to get a good cry on, I don't know why you would want that, but I recommend watching that movie. But back to my original point, which was something about death, I believe, was I still remember at least that back when I was young, and I don't know how I came to know about the concept of death, or the fact that, we would all end up dying. But I remember having sleepless nights just thinking and wondering, like, okay, what the fuck actually happens after death? Is everything gone? Is everything that I do on this planet for nothing? I know. It's really dark and strange thoughts that I'm not struggling with it anymore, of course, but it's something that none of us actually have an answer to, and that's, I feel, the most scary thing. But I'm not gonna let it control my life or my nights or whatever. It comes whenever it comes. That's how I feel about death. It's not something you can control or have any power over, so just, if it comes, then, well, fuck it, it comes. But don't worry, I'll see all of you guys in another life. But let's move on from this dark topic of conversation and move on to something more bright and cheery, which is actually this awkward conversation and just in this entire awkward moment and day even between Marina and Amber. This place came up more than the others, though. Not just Zion, but the landing. Kept saying we were going to hike up here, have a picnic, maybe watch the sun come up. A slight smile comes to my face as I think about him trying to make that hike. I would have liked to see the geezer try, but the thing is, right, it's still very early. We went like the moment we woke up, and it was still really early because Amber said that she still saw like a few of the remnants of the morning dew, right, which is something that happens really, really early in the morning. So couldn't they just wait a little while? A little while, maybe an hour or a couple hours, and then the fog will just go away? Maybe? Well, I'm not a big enough sap to try and make all of my and Gramps' plans happen now. It would have been nice to see the view. With Gramps, Marina, and everything that's happened over the past month, it just seemed fitting to make the trip. Angel's Landing. I glanced back to Marina, the hand that was clutched to her chest, now stretched outwards, grasping at the empty air. A slight breeze blows through, ruffling her hair. She looks beautiful. She looks ravaging. And angelic. Oh, fitting. Fitting on Angel's Landing. It's like she just landed here from heaven, huh? I didn't go to church much as a kid, but she looks like someone I'd see on a stained glass window, right next to a rendition of Calvary or Skull Hill. It's frustrating to have to come this far for nothing. But is it because of the fog? Because of Gramps? Or because of Marina? My teeth grit, grinding against each other, and under what feels like unimaginable weight. Come on, let's go. I turn around and begin down the slope. There's nothing else worth seeing up here. Marina doesn't follow. No spirited footsteps trailing behind me. No speeding bullet blazing ahead. Marina, we're going! It comes out with more bite than I intended, but I don't care. I just want to get out of here now. Marina is hesitant to answer, but eventually manages to spit it out, sounding more like a question than an actual statement. I don't want to. What? I don't want to leave. Not yet, anyway. Annoyed, I turned back to her for an explanation, only to be greeted by a pleading look instead. I'm used to it by now. I know I am, but do you think we could wait a little longer? Just to see if the fog clears? I don't know what it is. Disappointment, I guess? I respond with a blank stare. It's like she's not even talking to me. I feel like, both Amber and Marina, this trip coming up here had more of a symbolic reason for both of them, and the fact that it just turns out into this huge disappointment is just sucks for both of them, I feel, you know. For Amber, it was more of like, yeah, I was doing this for Grams. Grams recommended it to me, you know. It's still something that didn't happen a long time ago. It's still fresh, that wound of Grams dying. So, you know, it still lingers with her. So she wanted to see this because Grams recommended it. And for Marina, I don't know exactly what she means, but I think with it, she means disappointment. And that's maybe about just things that has happened in the past of her life, which we do not know much about. So that's just a guess. Don't be stupid. I start back down the hill, not bothering to wait for Marina this time. It's past noon. If it hasn't cleared by now, then it's not going to anytime soon. So much for not making things worse. What? What's happening? Holy crap. What the fuck is happening? Oh! I nudged the fire with a stick. So the thing that happened, they were just waiting there all night. Because it felt like it just happened within 5 seconds time, you know. I just thought like, wait, what the fuck is happening? It's suddenly night, but obviously it's time just progressing much faster, indicating that yeah, they waited here until freaking night, and even at this moment they're still waiting here. You know, cute, sitting here by the campfire. I nudged the stick with the fire with a stick. It wouldn't work well the other way around. Nudge a stick with fire. It doesn't do any good though, as the logs just tumble on top of each other, smothering the already pitiful flame. For a moment, our lot is only lit by the few remaining embers in the pit. Sighing, I grabbed a bottle of lighter fluid and squirted onto the ashes. An artificial flame roared into existence, then peters to the size of a pathetic candle flicker just as quickly. I plunged the stick back into the fire and scraped cinders from the glowing wood. Eventually, a flame catches on a charred log and grows until the pit is blazing once again. Aha! About damn time! The joy is exclusive to me, however, as Marina stays silent, staring into the fire. Want another s'more? She bounces back to life. Oh my god, yes please! She catches herself and switches back to broodiness. It's like she was like, oh damn it, I'm not supposed to be happy. I mean, sure, I guess. I roll my eyes, but can't help smiling on the inside. No matter how hard she tries, she's still the same Marina she's always been. I grab a marshmallow and stick it on the end of a bent coat hanger before handing it to her. Without another word, she plops it into the fire. Meanwhile, my eyes are drawn to the neglected bag of hot dogs lying behind the chocolate and graham crackers, unopened and ignored. I bought them because I thought Marina would like the variety, but I should have known that she would only go after the marshmallows. She's been devouring them. She opened the bag when we left the store, and it was half empty by the time we got back to the campsite. She clung to the bag like a security blanket the whole way. It's a miracle there are even any left. Shrugging, I take one of the hot dogs out of the bag and impale it on my coat hanger, and then put it in the fire next to Marina's. Even when we're this close to each other, there's still an air of tension. The one that's pervaded since we left Archie's. Neither of us have addressed it, but the inevitability of the treasure, the thick uneasiness that hangs over us. It's suppressed, but it's definitely there. But it's gotten better since we left Angel's Landing. The snacks were a peace offering of sorts, I guess. Although I was pleasantly surprised that she sat so close to me, even with 3 other logs around the fire pit. I fix my gaze on the flames. The dog is slimy, oozing with condensation that drips and sizzles into the ashes. That, you're not making it sound very appetizing. Oh my god, it's on fire! It's on fire, fire, fire! Marina's coat hanger whooshes over me like a spastic comet. The marshmallow now a smoldering ball of inferno. Here, give it to me! But it's on fire, Amber! Fire! I can see that! Just give it! She is so surprised by fire, like she's just a cave woman. Otherwise, trigger alert, cave woman that discovered fire just now. Like, oh god, fire, fire! I can see that. Just give it! She panics, squirming as her precious marshmallow burns before her very eyes. Alright, just don't hurt yourself, please. Frantically, she passes me the wire, biting her nails as I try to blow it out. Soon, the fire clears. The marshmallow, once white and fluffy, is now black and charred. Oh, now it's ruined. It's no big deal. You can still eat it. Preparing the s'more, I break apart the chocolate and cracker, then squish the marshmallow between a really black marshmallow. Ew, gross. But it's all black and stuff. I've seen people eat it in movies and stuff, but that's movies, You can't really trust movies when it comes to realism. But I've seen people eat it where they just have a little piece of it is a little bit burned with some blackness around it. People still eat it. So I guess if it's just a little bit burnt, it's not that bad. But the fact that it's all black, I would be very hesitant to eat it myself. Hey, don't knock it till you try it. Honestly, I think I might prefer it burned. That's so... you. She gives a nervous laugh. Here, just try it. And Marina stares at the s'more and gulps. Fine, but only because you asked. Closing her eyes, she opens her mouth wide. Oh, this is a perfect time to put something else in her mouth. I'm talking about the hot dog, of course. Not my own. Wide open. This time, it's my turn to gulp. I shuffle back. Amber tried to kiss Marina once before, and then Maria broke that moment. So, she's opening her mouth. What is she gonna do? Stick her tongue inside of it? That's not really romantic in the moment. So, this is not the best time to kiss her either, I feel. Suddenly, trying to avoid eye contact, and once again failing, I pop the s'more into her mouth and let out a restful sigh. Like bubblegum, she munches on it in the corner of her mouth, intently trying to dissect the flavor in her own cute way. So, her eyes grow wide in shock. She loves it. It's good, right? Doesn't it give a nice smoky flavor? It's a little bitter at first, but the marshmallow gets really crunchy. Oh, so good. I told you so. You just gotta give these things a shot. I can't believe I had my first s'more and found a way to make it better in the same day. I feel like that would take most people like a bajillion years to figure out. No, that would actually make me... Well, I would never figure it out because I wouldn't eat the burnt one in the first place. But it would definitely happen for me in the first, within the 5 minutes. First 5 minutes of making s'mores, I would make my first s'more and then burn it probably like the second or third one if I haven't burned the first one in the first place. I feel like that would definitely happen with me as well. I'll just burn the first s'more that I'll put over the fire. But it only took me one night. 'Cause I got you, Amber. 'Cause I got you, baby. Gobsmacked? Dumbfounded? They're both stupid, fancy words, but I think they work when trying to figure out this thing sitting beside me. Amber? You're kidding me. What? Your first s'more? Well, I've seen people eat them on TV and stuff before. Yeah, that doesn't count, obviously. But you have never, ever had a s'more in your entire life? Now that I think about it, I guess I haven't. That confirms it. Huh? Confirms what? You're an alien. government has just been keeping you hidden all this time. That's why I met you near Roswell. Oh, it's the only explanation. That's actually quite funny. I am not. If I were an alien, then why do I look like human? It's just a big cover-up. You're inside a human suit, or it's an optical illusion. That's just a flesh suit. So disguise so you can blend in. That's mean. You can't just buy these good looks at the costume store. No, they're handcrafted by the FBI or NSA or NRA or I don't fucking know how many other 3-letter combinations that comes close to the, organization that I'm talking about that deals with aliens and stuff. What's your sector's ID? Is this your first time away from your home planet? Do you need a phone to call home, Marina? Amber, stop! It's not my fault! Her face, I agree, it's not your fault that you're an alien. Her face puffs out, and I have to resist the urge to poke and deflate it. If I don't quit, she might actually start pouting. I'm sorry. I'll stop. I'm tempted to squeeze out one more joke, but decided against it as I tried to hold back the snicker underneath my breath. I think I like you better when you're serious. She crosses her arms, turning away as she closes both eyes to block me out. Then, with a grin, one eye open, we both burst out laughing. Since the hike, the fog has climbed down the hill, enveloping the campground. Even here it's carved out a small pocket, the breezy chill surrounding us as we take in the warm glow of the fire. Wouldn't the fog actually, make it kind of hard, if not impossible, to start a fire in it? Because it's so damp and moist, right? In the fog? I don't know. I've never actually been out in the... Well, I've been out in forests and stuff, but nothing to the point where I actually had to, sit by a campfire and spend the night during a foggy night or morning or whatever. It feels nice. But for real, I still can't believe this is your first time leaving home. She settles down a bit and places her hands in her lap, teetering side to side as she looks to the sky, even though there's nothing to look at but mist. Yeah, sometimes I have trouble believing it too. Since there's so many of us, I guess Mom and Dad could never afford to take us anywhere. Yeah, that's what happens when you have 9 fucking kids. That's what I thought. If her family is as big as she says, it's not like they could have just packed up and traveled like me and Gramps. You said you have 9 brothers and sisters, right? Yep, there's 10 of us, plus Mom and Dad, so 12 altogether. Oh my god, they could start a fucking soccer team. Jesus. Right? Everyone says our house is pretty big, but it's always been so cramped that I've never been able to tell. I've never even had my own room. I've always had to share with some of my sisters. My older brother shared too, until one went off to college. Is that the same brother whose car got torn apart by Maria? She laughs guiltily. Yeah, he always called it his love wagon. Oh god. If that thing was a love wagon, then my motorhome is a love palace. Oh, what are you trying to say, Amber? That it's definitely true, If she was in a love wagon before, then Marina has now upgraded into the love palace. But I feel like it's time, to make the place earn its name and hold it in high esteem by actually, having some love inside there. Ooh, that's a good name for it. Don't even start. Anyway, he said he wanted to get a new one when he got to Salt Lake City, so I don't think he'll be too angry. Hold on, that's in Utah too, or Utah. Why didn't you tell me? The detour would have been a pain in the ass, but if you wanted to visit him, I wouldn't have minded the extra miles. Not if it was for you. Marina does a double take and realize I've given too much away. She's like, ooh. You'd have to pay for gas though. Marina blinks, then smiles. Crisis averted. Nah, it's okay. I want to do this without my family's help. Besides, It's only a community college. Your brother moved from New Mexico to Utah so he could attend a community college? Uh-huh. He sends me a gift every month. Last month it was a top hat. I put it right on top of the desk in my room. That's just how much he wanted to get away from home. He would find any fucking community college, doesn't matter where it was, as long as it's away from, the other 11 people that he shared a house with. She pauses for a moment. Mine and my sister's room, I mean. Your family sounds about as weird as you. Really? Huh. Yeah, I guess we are. She beams, wearing the title of weird like a badge of honor. That's not a good thing. Actually, maybe it is. I like it. Besides, Dad keeps us all in line. He's a defense lawyer, super straight-laced. Ooh, a lawyer. You remind me of him, actually. He likes everything nice and orderly, which is bad for him because he's surrounded by us. But she talks for a long time, chattering and laughing about her family, the smile never leaving her face. I almost get lost in it. I almost want to do it. For the precious minutes that she speaks, I forget the tension that shadows us since Archie's, and could believe it was never there. I love that about Marina. Even when we're wet with rain, or humoring truck drivers, or racing a lunatic down the highway, she never hesitates to smile. For her, it's always poised to the brim, waiting to shine through. I could listen all night, but she trails off only a short time later. I'm sorry. This must be boring, right? Nah, I can tell that you love him a lot. It was always just me and Gramps, so it's sorta interesting to see how other families work. I really wonder, that's the only, sort of parent or family member that Amber has ever mentioned. But it's kind of an unusual thing to only live with your grandfather, so what actually happened with Amber's parents, I wonder? The lot falls silent, save for the crackling flames. I brace myself for what I know is coming. Hey, Amber, there it is, there it is! Me and Marina thought the same thing at the same time. Hey, Amber, what happened to your mom and dad? I stare into the fire. It pops, casting up delicate embers that fall and vanish in the dirt. I'm sorry. That was too personal. No, it's fine. I feel like if it were any other person, it was too direct of a question. But, I don't know, they're such good friends at this point. Sure, there was a little bit of tension before, and a little bit of awkwardness before, but that was about something different. I feel like I don't know. They've already talked sort of about things that are close to their heart that they wouldn't tell any other person, but they've told these things to each other. So there's definitely a connection here where they feel like these things that are almost sacred to them, this information, that they're willing to share that with the other person. So yeah, if it was any other person, too direct of a question, but here it's all right, I guess. But you can definitely tell it's just not a pleasant conversation to have, but it's something you want to know. It shows interest in the other person, right? And it's something it's just curiosity. I really want to know too. No, it's fine. They're both around, I think. Only met Dad once a long time ago. Once? Me and Ma don't get along very well. Haven't spoken to her since I was 16. Last I heard, she was living in some trailer park in Ohio. Is that where you lived with your grandpa? Sorta. Ma always had her issues, so the court said Gramps could take care of me when I was a baby. Wow, then already? So yeah, always was her. And it was just Gramps and her. Dang. So her mom is basically a drug addict or alcoholic. That sucks. And her father, I don't know what he did. He ran away or something? I stifle a laugh. Not that it did any good. The geezer had the bright idea to haul me around the Mideast and East Coast for half of my life. He took care of you all by himself? He must have been amazing. I mean, that's true. Like, you know, as a grandfather to take on a child just like that is not something every grandfather would do for their grandchild. It's usually something that happens in case of emergency, which in this case, I guess it kind of was, but still, for him to do all of that alone, that's one badass grandpa indeed. Ha! Try again. He was an old hippie who was stuck in the 70s and spent most of his time listening to weird music. Sounds just like you. Hey, watch it. If anything, he was more like you. I was always cleaning up his messes, even as a little girl. Even near the... I choked down a growing lump in my throat. Even near the end. Amber, It was always just the two of us, though. Us, or any random old friend he wanted to see. Even when he decided to settle down in Colorado, it was just us. People could come and go, but it was always just us. And I was there for all of it. I was there for every single appointment. I was there at the hospital, and I was there at the funeral. Ma didn't even bother to come to that, but I was there, and he was always there too. You really miss him, huh? My voice lowers to a whisper, raspy and dry. Yeah. Aww. Something slumps against my shoulder. Glancing down, I discover Marina's head resting against me. What are you doing? Nothing. She looks up at me. Want me to stop? No, I didn't say stop. That word would never come out of our mouth, even though I just said it a minute ago. Well, 15 seconds ago. Nah, keep doing it. Okay. We should turn in soon. We have a big day ahead of us. Yeah, maybe. Or we could sit like this the entire night and wait for something to happen. Hehehehe. We sit in silence for a little while. Or maybe it's a long time. I can't tell. It's a nice silence though. A comfortable one. Finally,